sounds a little unusual, but I'm going to be making a lamb meatball curry. So I'm going to use the same context as an Italian one where you use some breadcrumbs and soak it in milk, but instead of traditional cow's milk, I'm going to use coconut milk. So I've just broken up the bread in my fingers, just so we've got some crumbs, and I'm going to add half of this coconut milk in with the breadcrumbs to soften. This is going to keep our meatballs super moist throughout the cooking process. I'll grab a fork and just mix that in and mush it. And you just want to make sure that it's completely submerged in that coconut milk. You can even add a little more and then mix that up. That won't take too long to soften. In the meantime, we'll get on with the rest of the ingredients in here. 1 egg, I'm going to crack into a bowl. And using a fork, we'll give that a quick mix. That can go in with our 500 grams of lamb mince. And then for lots of flavour, I love the addition of some coriander. I'm going to leave the leaves for a garnish later on, but there's so much flavour in the roots and stalk. So finely chop the coriander stalks. Fabulous. And then that can go in with our meat. For some extra flavour, ginger, and I'm going to use a fine grater to mince that in. We want about a teaspoon of freshly grated ginger. Fabulous, and we'll use the rest for our sauce later on. And some curry powder, a few teaspoons of that. This is a really mild curry powder, so the kids will love this one too. And also some garlic, about half of this garlic. Okay, now we can get our hands in here and mix the lamb in with all of those flavours. With my other hand that's dry, I'm going to add a generous pinch of salt, 2 pinches of salt. And we can add our softened bread mixture now. Now we're going to give that a generous mix. Combine everything together so it's evenly distributed and so the mixture is really sticky, just like that. Okay, now you could just roll these as is, or, this is a little trick, use an ice cream scoop to get the perfect amount. So this makes 15 meatballs. So I'm just going to scoop that out and roll it in my hands, and then we'll pop that onto a lined tray, and I'm going to continue the process. If you like, you could put these into the fridge for about an hour or so the flavours develop, or you can just cook them straight away, just like I'm going to do. Okay, it's time to seal the meatballs. Now I've set the cook for me on the browning mode, just a little oil. I'm using vegetable oil for this, and we're going to sear them in batches. Okay, another splash of oil. And we can cook our onions. We want to soften the onions. 1 onion that I've finely chopped. And while the onions are cooking, we can also toast off our spices. Some cumin seeds, whole cumin seeds for this, and some mustard seeds. And now give that a mix. I'll also add the rest of this ginger that I'll finely chop. Okay, these onions have softened, the spices smell fantastic. So we've added the whole spices, but now we need some powdered spice. A tablespoon of this curry powder, and in that goes. And we'll just stir that through. And now we can add the remaining ingredients. So some crushed tomatoes, 1 can. And the coconut milk that was left over, so that's a half a can. And another whole can of coconut milk. This is going to give us a really lovely creamy sauce for our meatballs. Now I just want to stir that through. Right, now we can return the meatballs. So we'll just pop them in, and then I'm going to cook this under pressure. And that means these meatballs are going to be cooked in 15 minutes as opposed to 40 minutes. And you'll see this sauce is going to be thick and rich. The meatballs are still going to be tender. It's going to be perfect. Okay, 15 minutes is up. This is ready and let's have a look. Ooh, that looks good. Smells even better. The sauce is nice and thick and the meatballs have held their shape. Now I'm going to serve this with some roti. Just going to come around here and just carefully get a generous spoonful and pop it into this bowl. Looks good. I love curries that are super saucy, just like this one. Great. And then I've just been picking some coriander, so a few sprigs of coriander on the top. And the only way to eat this is to rip the roti, dunk it in the sauce. It is delicious. 15-minute meatballs with an Indian touch. What more could you want?